Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus said to his disciples, "As the Father loves me, so I also love you. Remain in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, and your joy might be complete. This is my commandment: love one another as I love you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I no longer call you slaves, because a slave does not know what his master is doing. I have called you friends, because I have told you everything I have heard from my Father. It was not you who chose me, but I who chose you, and appointed you to go and bear fruit that will remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give you. This I command you: love one another." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you. A number of years ago, as part of my monthly routine as a priest, I would go to visit a local nursing home and visit the Catholic residents who lived there. And I would go every month, and I would go from room to room and pray with the people who lived there and bring them communion if they were able to receive it. And you got to know the people after time went by. Well, there was one room at this nursing home that was completely different than all the others. It was awash in color. The walls were painted in pastels. There were lacy curtains in the windows. There were children's artwork plastered throughout all the four walls. The woman who lived in this nursing home, in this room, was in her early 40s, and she had MS, multiple sclerosis. And as the story goes, as I learned, she was 25 when she was married. She and her husband had 3 children. At age 30, she was diagnosed with MS. By 35, she was in the nursing home. She was diagnosed with the most serious form of this illness. And what happened and what I observed was the following. Every single day, her husband would get off of work. He would pick up the children from school, bring them to visit their mother. They would stay there, wipe her brow, feed her, talk with her, draw her pictures and put them on the wall. They would then have dinner together, kiss her goodbye, and go home for the evening. And they would do this every single day, every day, every day. For 10 years, the father would do this with his children to go visit their mother, his wife. He was an inspiration to everyone in the nursing home, the doctors, the nurses, the aides, and to me. He could have done all sorts of things. Could have left her, cheated on her, moved away, taken the kids. He could have done all sorts of things, but he chose to stay by his wife and show her how much that he loved her. And when she died, it was a most beautiful funeral, very joyful. And I must tell you, in my opinion, that man, that father, that husband, is the kind of man, the kind of person you meet in heaven. Today we hear about love in our readings. First reading, God shows no partiality. Second reading, God is love. Gospel, Jesus says, "As the Father loves me, so I love you, live on in my love." The theme is love. It's a common theme in the Scriptures. It's a very common theme of homilies. We've heard it all before. God is love. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love God above all things. The two greatest commandments. And yet, when we take a step back and think about it, love is serious business. Love is not spelled L-U-V. It's spelled L-O-V-E. Love is sacrificial. When we love a person, if we truly love them, whether it's a friend or a child or a spouse, we die to ourselves and we live for the other. That is the mark of true love. Love is not easy. Our culture today tells us it is. Love is cheap. Love, according to our culture, popular culture today, is basically lust. I will use the other person for my pleasure and then throw them away. I'll get what I want to out of them, and then I'll move on. But that is not what we believe as Christians regarding love at all. I suppose the challenge for us, especially in the English language, is that we only have one word for love, which is love. I love chocolate. I love my dog. I love the Green Bay Packers. I love my car. I love my house. I love my country. I love my children. I love my spouse. I love God. Hopefully we can all see these are different types of love, or they ought to be. If we love our spouse as much as we love chocolate, there's a problem there, I think. Different kinds of love. Love looks like something. It's sacrificial. We die to ourselves. We live for the other. Those of you who have children, you know that nothing demands more of you than your children. And every day as a parent, if you're a good parent, you have to die to yourself and live for your child. The children give you ample opportunities to do this for years. And the challenge is sometimes when the child doesn't like what you have to say. You say, no, you can't go out with your friends until 1 in the morning. No, you can't eat candy all the time. No, you have to do your homework. Clean up your room. Don't talk back. Come to church with me. And as the child grows older, sometimes the child says, I don't want to do that. And sometimes as a parent, you all know, if you're good parents, the love that you show has to be tough love. And sometimes the love you show is by saying, no, you are wrong, you will do this. And disciplining your children. And you parents know the child is never going to say to you, thank you very much for disciplining me. I see the error of my ways. The child is going to say, I hate you. You're the worst parent in the world. All the other parents allow it. You're mean. I hate you. But you see, it doesn't matter. Why did you become a parent? To have a good time? No. And so love is sacrificial. When we raise our children, it means that we have to sometimes be firm with them, always loving, but sometimes the love is saying no. With friends that we have, we love our friends. Close friendship's one of the sweetest things in life. And if we have a close friend and we see they're going the wrong way, or living a life that is immoral, or drinking too much, or swearing, or cheating, or they're living an unhealthy life in some way, can we love them enough to be able to tell them and say, you're going the wrong way? What, will they get mad at us? Get upset? Are they really our friend? True friendship is able to speak the hard truths that need to be said, the hard truths. How often do we have friends, and out of friendship, we say nothing? Is that really being a good friend? Is that really being loving? It's more like a traitor and a coward. Love also in service to our neighbor, giving of ourselves, doing the things that we'd rather not do, helping out a friend, helping out somebody at work who's not popular, reaching out to the kid at school that's picked on, helping those who are in need, acts of service to the poor and the suffering, things that perhaps there are a million other things we'd rather be doing. We live busy lives. But the loving thing is to sacrifice ourselves and to give back to others in service. And so too with God. We love God. That's why we're here this morning. We love God good. And as we grow in the spiritual life, what happens is that when we sin, and tragically we all fall into this, when we offend God, if we have grown in the spiritual life, the first response in our mind is not, uh-oh, I'm in trouble, I'm going to be punished, I'm going to go to hell. The first response becomes sadness. Why did I do that? Why did I throw that back in God's face? He who loves me so much, who has given me everything, I was so ungrateful. Love is sacrificial. Love is dying to the self, living for the other. Love is not easy. It's hard. And it's the most important and sweetest thing in life. In all of its forms, friendship, spousal love, love of God, love of our country, whatever, it involves dying to ourselves, living for the other person. 1,000,000 years ago, I was dating a young woman. It was a long time ago. And she was very nice, and she was a devout Christian. And the moment was right, and there was a sunset, which is always very pleasant. And I reached my arm over and gave her a hug and said, I love you. It seemed to be the right thing to say at the time. And she looked at me and she said, I hope you mean what you say. Those are serious words. Think before you speak them. Which was not the reaction I was expecting. And you can see what happened. It all worked out. But she was right. She understood that love is something very serious and very beautiful, one of the sweetest things in life. And it's something that we have to take seriously. What does love look like? That's what it looks like. The crucifix. This crucifixion scene which we see so often every week. If you want to know what love looks like, that's what it looks like. In your marriage, as you strive to love your spouse, to love your children, to love each other, as you grow old together, dying to yourself, living for the other, that's what love looks like. If you're living the single life and the opportunities you have of service and generosity to your neighbor and your family and your friends, that's what love looks like. In the religious life, the life that I share, if I strive to follow the Lord Jesus in the gift of my vocation, then this is what my love must look like. And yes, there are good days and bad for all of us. And sometimes we do a good job, and sometimes we blow it. But I ask you to remember that husband who loved that wife of his. For 10 years, he brought his children and himself to visit her in the nursing home. Every single day. Love looks like something. It's serious business. It's the most wonderful thing in the world. We ask the Lord Jesus to give us the grace to love Him above all things, truly, 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 and to love our neighbor as ourselves. May God bless you.